I was trying to break down to my mom how crazy it is that there's a chance that I won't end up with a black man. And she like, no, you should just date whoever. Don't be just saying that you gonna date outside your race and that.
I genuinely want to know why black men make dating so difficult.
But that's the thing though. Is dating made difficult by black men? Or is it difficult dating black men?
That is heavy amazing viewer at Comfort for Life, and I'm here to share your favorite collection of TikTok videos. And in today's video we'll be looking at dating when it comes to dating on black dating, you know. So black women always complain of not getting men who suit their standards, while black men also complain of black women having high standard. So we are going to listen from both angles, and as well as from dating coaches, to know what could be the problem, what could be causing this disconnect when it comes to finances, because we always hear that black American women aren't affordable. So we'll see a lot of passport bros, as we have been witnessing it recently. So many black American men coming to Kenya and dating Kenyan. And what could be the problem? How can we address this? What's your experience? Let's have a conversation around this topic.
It's just so weird to me. Like sometimes, a majority of the time, I don't see a lot of black men. I think this is weird, especially like when I'm going to school. Like when I was getting my degree in like my art degree, a black man, it was maybe two other ones, but they were in different, like, you know, they were older than me. When I got my master's, it was one guy that was there. So imagine this being my dating pool. And even with work, the only black men I see are way older than me. And it's only like one. And when women said, like, the more degrees you get as a black woman, the spaces you occupy, you're going to see less black men. And I thought y'all were tripping. And it's not like I'm in a place that is like not popping. It's Chicago. You're telling me Chi-Town? Like, oh, he got his bachelor's, he got his master's, he's working a corporate job. I'm talking about those type of men. I don't see that. Y'all tell me, y'all just think it's corny, right? That's why, right? Like, cause where y'all at? Because I want to be motivated. You know what I'm saying? I want to, every single time I see, you know what? I see him got himself together. I see that brother walking. I might just risk it all today. I can't say that. I'm trying to see where the eye candy is at. You know, I'm trying to see him have a nice cut with the waves. You know what I'm saying? Looking nice, business casual with some cologne on. Had me rethinking my life. Where are y'all at? I know y'all exist. Where are y'all? I'm scared to get my PhD because if I swear to you, I step on that campus, I've already looked at the data sets of all the schools that I applied to. Ain't a lot of this. Ain't a lot of this nowhere. It's about to be our month, and I'm thinking to myself, girl, this is it. I ain't gonna see it.
Women also make it difficult to date. Yes, but here's why. I feel like now black women are just smarter. We know our worth, we know our value, we have standards, we have boundaries, right? Not saying that the generations before us different, but we are just on a different level, and we can't tolerate, and we're just not accepting what the black man has to offer anymore. I feel like as black women, culturally, we've elevated, and black men are still here, and black men want us to wait for them to meet us where we are, and we're not anymore.
I have an answer, and it's simply because they don't have money. So I've been thinking about this a lot as it relates to my personal dating life. A lot of my friends who are black women who are in their late 20s, early 30s, who have been struggling with dating, who prefer to date black men, and have been doing it in comparison to my white peers and some peers outside of like other races, but specifically my white peers, as to why we all went to similar schools. We all went to similar schools. We all have similar educational backgrounds. We all work similar jobs. For bar, we would say we would live very similar lives, except I just oscillate in primarily black spaces and they oscillate in primarily white spaces. With that said, I think it's because white people, but specifically white also men, are raised in the way that they have generational wealth, but a generational wealth mindset, meaning that they saw their parents get paired off and married, you know, within their 20s. They have grandma's ring and heirlooms. They have a house that they know that they will inherit. They have a mindset knowing that even if they lose their job at Goldman Sachs or in tech or whatever, that they have this sort of privilege that they know that they'll always be fine and they know that they'll always be able to take care of their family. So even though they're in build mode, they're not necessarily worried that they would lose everything. And I think that mindset is different for Black men, meaning that they spend a lot of their 20s and even in their early 30s really trying to play a game of like financial catch up, really trying to get themselves established. And because they're playing that game, they play games in other areas, meaning that they don't necessarily take things seriously in terms of getting married, having kids, buying a home, starting family. Because those things require money. And if you don't have it, they're not necessarily going to, I guess, just take those things seriously. And again, I was just really thinking as to like why I'm in my late 20s. A lot of my friends are in our late 20s to early 30s, and we're still like dating and on dating apps and dealing with games and all the shenanigans that come with dating Black men. But then when I look at the Jennys, the Tiffany's, and the whatevers of the world, a lot of them who I have worked with or work with, why they all, ironically enough, got engaged all at 27, 28, around the same time. And it's felt kind of like sorority-like, very systematic. And again, it's that peer influence around them. If they see all their friends doing the things, and this goes for men too, they're going to go do those things as well. If they saw their parents do it, they're going to go do it as well. And I don't think Black men saw it from their fathers. And they also didn't necessarily and don't necessarily see it from their peers around them. So they don't also feel kind of that social influence to do those things, especially for Black men in major cities like a New York, LA, a Chicago, a Miami, maybe even Houston. Maybe in the South, it might be a bit different. But yeah, there's more I can say on this, and I've been doing a lot of research. I'm actually going to write an article about it, just the differences and nuances between being a Black woman dating versus like my white contemporaries and their dating experiences. But yeah, the one factor that it boils down to is money. And if you don't have it, you're not able to progress forward in dating.
Chance that I won't end up with a Black man. And she like, no, you should just date whoever. Don't be just saying that you gonna date outside your race and that's it. I'm not saying that's it. If a Michael B. Jordan, if a fine Trevante Rose come to me, I'm gonna step up and be the woman I need to be with him. But I'm thinking to myself, I'm explaining to my mom, I'm like, the things I find interesting, the places that I'm in, there's not a lot of Black men there. It may be Black women, but Black men don't do that stuff. And I'm not about to go to a place that I specifically know, because we're not doing all that. Because then that to me is, we're not occupying the same place. We don't have the same interests. Why would this work out? In the last 4 years, there have been 3 Black men that I've seen frequently that could have been a candidate. 3. That doesn't mean that I find them attractive and they find me attractive. But out of think about that, 3 in the last 4 years, and every year it gets slimmer. Because this year, I haven't seen nothing, and I know it's a new year. But as somebody, I'm not even living in a place that is like you don't see anybody. There's a rural Chicago. And before you're like, there's a lot of Black men. Look at me. Think about who I would date. I have my bachelor's and my master's. Think about who I would date. Look at all of me. Look at me. Don't look at the mess. Look at how I'm dressing.
Recently, I visited the University of Oregon and I got to go to their Black Cultural Center and present for Black History Month. And while I was there, I noticed that there's not a lot of Black folks in Oregon, and I wanted to know why. The history is racist as hell. Back in 1844, when chattel slavery was still legal in the United States, new states started to figure out, hey, we're a new state, we have all the stolen land, how should we deal with the issue of slavery? And then there started to be free states, states that didn't have enslavement, and states that were slave states, or states that had slavery. But what Oregon decided to do when it became a territory and then a state was to ban Black people entirely. And the way this has been taught has been so racist and inaccurate. Basically, it's been made to seem like the white people who were in Oregon, who were founding the state, were so benevolent that instead of having families be torn apart over the issue of enslavement and the moral quandary that it is, we should just ban Black people for their own good. Which, like, has many layers of wrong. And the interesting thing is that they didn't completely ban Black people. They had a 3-year limit where Black people could live in the state. And then after those 3 years, they had something called lash laws, which legally mandated that Black people be beaten over a period of 6 months repeatedly until they left the state. And even those incredibly racist and violent laws were framed as being benevolent because at least the people weren't getting lynched. And researching or learning about something like that is a type of thing that makes you just take aback and rewrite your entire keynote speech, which is what I did. So I completely threw out my other speech on Black history and decided to make one very specific to the state of Oregon, the racist history behind the lash laws and these different restrictions going back to 1844, the displacement of Native Americans, white privilege, and so many other conversations. I think it went pretty well, but it also made me think about the fact that it all started with me just thinking, there's not a lot of Black people that I'm seeing in Oregon. Why is that? And so now I know and you know, and that's fantastic, but it also made me think about the fact that we should be looking into more things that we just take for granted. No, your neighborhood isn't mostly white just because that's how it ended up. It's usually because of racism and segregation. So I hope it encourages you to look a little deeper into your history and know it's not still Black History Month, but that's something that should be celebrated and acknowledged year-round.
Also, they're making less money than Black women. And this is the only kind of racial group where this happens. And so it is very hard to find a Black man that is making more than you. And if that is the case, oftentimes Black men will feel emasculated and often try to humble you and control you because they don't feel like they're in financial control. So that makes it a little bit challenging when you're dealing with Black men. You want to ask him what he does, right? You want to ask him, and then you want to glass door that mofo, girl. You also want to ask him how many people he manages, right? Because if he can't manage people professionally, he probably can't manage people personally. Thirdly, you want to ask about the men in his life, his mentors. A lot of Black men actually don't have many mentors, so it's really weird to say, and it feels very archaic, but it's very true, and it is this. A man is looking for an alpha man to kind of check him. That is kind of the orders of operation, PEMDAS, if you will, in terms of how to kind of raise a man. And so if he doesn't have mentors, a father, other elders to kind of keep him in check, he's going to be out here kind of roaming the streets like many of them are. So you want to ask him, who are his male role models and mentors? Okay. Fourthly, you have to understand something. There are 100 Black women to 88 Black men. So what that means is, and if you went to college, you understood this gender ratio gap. It means that oftentimes men have more power because there are fewer of them. So
enjoy the rest.
Black men are the hardest group of men to date. And if you don't believe me, you can look at the divorce rates. Black men that marry Black women get a divorce rate that's at 100% higher than the average. Black men that marry white women are at a 200% divorce rate increase. Black women that date non-Black men are anywhere from 20 to 44% less in divorce rate. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because most Black women are dating and marrying Black men, and there are certain challenges involved with that I think are important, so I wanted to share those with you so you understood. Am I saying that I don't want you to be with a Black man? Not at all. 2/3 of my clients actually end up with Black men, but I want to make sure that you're vetting them very well so that you get healthy, healed Black men. Okay, so what am I talking about? First, let's talk about mom. Girl, in the 90s, 75% of the households, Black households, were single mother households. So Black men generally have 2 relationships with their mother. Either they were a mesh, so entitled, and they think that they're the prize and they are looking for women to be mothers, or their mother was very highly critical. judgmental. So a lot of black men are actually running away from black women because they're running away from their mothers. So a question that you want to ask if you're dating a black guy is ask him about his relationship with his mother. Yeah? Okay, number 2, money. Unfortunately, because black men are less educated and some, systematic prejudices, racism, discrimination, black men are not making as much money as probably they need to be.
So I am a black woman who is happily married to a very healthy and supportive black man, but I can also recognize a lot of truth in what he's saying, and I can acknowledge the statistics are real. And I will never hop on the bandwagon of like bashing all black men, and I don't think at all that that's what he's doing. He's just stating some facts, and I don't think that all black men, obviously I'm married to a black man, I don't think that all black men are terrible or not marriage material, but they are, slim. They're slim pickings, and they are few and far in between, in my opinion. They're like unicorns now. So I will always encourage black women to expand our options and date very intentionally so that you can be sure to get you a healthy and supportive partner. So that means date all men, date them all. Do not limit yourself to only black men. And I know a lot of us have this dream of black love, and I'm not saying you should discard your dream or lose all hope, but most importantly, you want a partner that is just going to love you, respect you, support you, be there for you. And if you open up your dating pool to other options, then the odds are going to be more in your favor. That's just the reality. And my husband and I actually have these conversations about the disparity between black men and black women in the dating pool and in marriage. So, he is very cognizant of that. And I think that's a reflection of where he is as a man and what I believe it required of him to get to that point, to be able to recognize those things are accountability, our growth, our success and progress personally for him. And I'm saying that to say the black men that can be honest and truthful about the statistics, about the reality of dating amongst the black community are those unicorns. They are those men that are hard to come by, but they do exist. They exist, but don't put all your eggs in one basket, sis. Explore your options, open up your heart to potentially finding a man, no matter where he comes from, no matter what his skin complexion is. You're just wanting and you deserve a man who is just really going to love and support you in a very healthy way.
It means that they're going to have lower commitment rates and higher abandonment rates because they're going to have other women waiting for them, which isn't necessarily the case for black women because there's so much more of them. And if you are in a bigger city, it's going to be even worse, right? It's actually like 20-25% more black women than black men. So it makes it harder to date them. So when you're asking about kind of his commitment level, you want to ask him how many relationships he's had that has lasted more than a year, okay? And finally, the reason why it's kind of harder to date black men is because of the micro and macro aggressions that they have to face, similar to what the aggressions that you have to face. But oftentimes, those things will lead to depression and anger for men, and they might bring it home, which can make it very hard for black women to be with them. So you want to ask them how they deal with those sorts of aggressions on a daily basis and how they manage it mentally, intellectually, emotionally. I hope this is helpful as you evaluate black men, and also I want you to date everybody, right? I know that the biggest flex and in terms of being able to find success in your dating life is to be able to date everyone. I hope this helps as you navigate your dating journey. And if you
look at me,
I just want to start by congratulating my black ladies. Congratulations in your education but looking at the statistics right here, you'd realize that really there's a problem with black men, and that could be because of the opportunities that were denied to them in the past. And I don't know what about now, but that could be one of the problems. there could be opportunities right now, but you know, we look at role models. If your surrounding has people who are just around doing stuff that aren't really making sense, who is your role model? Who are you looking up to? But I still believe that things will get better. So just, they also need empowerment. That we're living in a society where we're always looking at women's empowerment, but are we really looking at men empowerment? Because we are going down there. So if men are down the track and you're trying to wait for them to go up, who is raising them? So we need women who will stand up for men now, because now I'm feeling like the circle, there's a paradigm shift that has happened. So let's find out a way to raise our men, instead of putting blame on them all the time, and it will be possible. And for those white ladies, black ladies rather, who are focused in finding black men, it is possible. So empowerment is the way to go. There could be a lack of opportunities then, but I just want to tell my black men right here to rise up, rise again above your difficulties, get out of your comfort zone. Nobody will give you freedom. You have the freedom. Freedom is a mindset, so run with what you have. So don't really think about the boundaries that you have. You can break through those boundaries and be able to become the person you should be. You know, if ladies are saying that they're looking down, like, you guys are just down there. I don't know what to say, how best to put this, but there's need for improvement. These are my thoughts on this video. Don't forget to leave your thoughts kindly. I love interacting. Don't forget to click that like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. I love interacting. There's nothing. I'm so happy to read comments from people. Engagement is what I love. Engagement is the reason why I'm posting videos. If I have less engagement, I'll disappear. But I'm sure that you won't let me down. Goodbye for now. I appreciate your love and support. Thank you.